Ahoy, son.
Yo, what's up?
What up, everybody? How you doing? I'm Dave Landau.
Quarter Black Garrett.
And that's Angela.
Hey, it's me.
Angela.
That was good.
Thanks. I
Perfectly
don't even know what to
done.
say. Okay.
A hearty
thanks.
hello. Welcome back to another episode of Normal World. Before we get started, just letting you know, I'll be at the Funny Bone in Omaha, Nebraska this weekend, so come out. I'm going to be with Matt McClowry. You know him.
Ben
and
Shapiro.
Yeah, he played Ben Shapiro on the episode the other day. And before that, or not before that, we have already said it.
We've said it already.
We were chatting and having a good time, then it all stopped, so we could
to
start the show. Please welcome a comedian. He's got way too many credits to really name. Please welcome Eddie Ifft.
Hi.
Thanks, man, for being on the show.
Yeah, I'm the best off-air comedian in the world. Once it turns on, dead. We were having a great time.
Yeah, it was really good.
Before they said
Sorry, I had to kill that.
we're on. Yeah, you killed our vibe.
We're not recording any of this.
You just take it personal.
I don't blame me. I blame the people that produce.
As you
It's your fault.
You
directly pointing
Like
at
somebody
Angela.
started counting and asked me to be quiet. Now I'm just going to pout the rest of the episode.
I guess so.
So I'd say, are you a Jason Aldean fan? He wrote a song called "Try This in a Small Town."
Well, I don't even know what's going on with that. I've been happy lately because I've stayed away from the news for like
That's the way.
last. I've been living on a lake for a month with my wife and kids. We do it for a month every year, and I literally don't know what's going on. You guys gave me the topics, and I'm like, I have no idea.
I mean, you're not drenched in news politics all day long, every day?
Why
are you doing with your
smiling?
life?
What is that? Is there a connection?
Why am I your guest?
Yeah,
The heck is this?
Let's get a guest that knows nothing.
that's okay. We're two hosts that know nothing. We just pretend.
There you go.
What's going on with Jason Aldean? I see he's in trouble for something.
Yeah.
Well, not really. He's this pandering dipshit. I don't know.
First of all, who is
Country singer.
Jason Aldean?
The country music singer.
First, we were like, look, he's
I've never
allowed to
heard
say
of.
what he wants, where he put out a song where he's like, don't try this in a small town, which was essentially like the riots in 2020. He's like, come to a small town and try that. So people made like memes of like Rittenhouse and like, Pia, they already did, you know.
In a small town.
And then you realize that this guy's just kind of pandering to get, you know, like, oh no, I got banned from CMT because that's what happened. CMT said we can't play your song, which I'm sure they were just in, cahoots with him. We're like, yeah, we'll just play it on other rebellious platforms like everything else.
every other music platform.
You can get it.
I didn't realize that CMT was still around. I
I
thought
thought
that
they
had
play
gone.
music. I thought they just played like old reruns of Dallas and stuff.
You thought they left with MTV and NBC?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
VH1 and Fuse.
Remember NBC?
I do.
I remember them.
I remember wanting to be on it when I started comedy.
Yeah.
And that dream just, I didn't have it after.
I get offered everything after it's over.
Yeah.
You know, like I was at a meeting once at Esquire magazine. Remember when they had a TV channel?
Yeah.
I was at a meeting there to pitch a show, and before the meeting started, the guy goes like this. He goes, before you start the pitch, I just want to let you know, at noon today, Hollywood Reporter is going to reveal that we're shutting down completely. And I'm like,
Wow.
why did you let me come here? Like, you could have called me before this. God, don't bother.
The guy's like, listen, we've just enjoyed killing people's dreams for so long that we wanted to do it one more time. We just wanted to see life
for the road.
And then he goes like this. He goes, but let me hear your idea anyway.
Yeah.
So I don't know why.
He's just like pumping Vaseline into his hand, making eye contact with you. Tell me. Tell me about your hopes.
And I fall for it. I start pitching him the show like the idiot that I am. And then he looks at me and he goes, I probably would have bought it.
Damn, that's even worse.
Yeah, he's on my kill list. Yeah, he's on it. As I put the lipstick on.
He just parachutes out into a $200,000 car.
That's the best part. I don't like riding elevators. I have this weird elevator fear. And they were on, it was Universal, and they were on like the 15th floor or something. And my manager's like, you got to go to this meeting. You got to go. You got to. And I like had to work it up. I'd like talk to a therapist. I get on the elevator. I go up. And as soon as he announces that they're closing, I go like this. And I rode the elevator. And my manager goes, Eddie, calm down. He goes, people just lost their jobs. And I go, I don't care. I'm like, I just rode the elevator. And he goes, Eddie, look out there. all those people don't have a job right now. And I'm like, I never had a job. I came here to get one.
You're like, I got
even get
fooled
that far.
into thinking they still had jobs.
Yeah.
Like this whole thing was them convincing me they all still worked here. This was a mirage.
It was the weirdest. They could have just said, hey, meetings postponed.
Yeah.
Why was I there?
There's no reason for it.
I hate everyone in Hollywood.
I never had fun. The only thing I ever actually passed was the New and Living Color, where they were like, "We love your irreverent sketches." Oh, great! And then 2 minutes later, it's like, "We're not going to be doing that show anymore." And then everybody else in Hollywood was like, "Yeah, we're not. We don't want anything to do with you." I was like, "Cool,
Great.
well, I have an apartment now. I'll just hang out and do spots." Oh, $10? This is sweet. So I get to be a road comic from here?
I got hired to do a pilot for a show called Hollywood Anonymous.
Okay.
And it was a bunch of people that sat around that should have quit Hollywood that couldn't quit.
But didn't.
Yeah, like you had a disease. Like all signs were there that it just wasn't working out for you. And it was kind of like we would riff and my opening line was, I know I should quit Hollywood. The fact that my agent drove me here. Like my agent was like, this is your show. You're perfect for this.
He's playing
Permanently
Eminem in the car on the way there. So come on, you own it.
Come on, man.
You ain't never gonna stop. Meanwhile, he's getting texted like, "We're not a company anymore." He's like, "Just do this for him." I think he's gonna kill himself.
We'll be on the 13th floor. It'll easy.
Every time I now go to a show, I think I'm like the mark on like a fake reality show.
Yeah.
Where are the
Like,
cameras?
Yeah, they're like, this guy's so desperate. We're gonna get him. We're gonna get like I've done shows where I'm like, this can't be real. This is
Any moment where you feel good too in show business, you're like, so what happens when this all comes crashing down?
The rug's getting pulled
At any second.
Right?
Guys,
Any
you
minute?
figured it out. Bring out the cameras.
Yeah.
Bring out the cameras.
that is me and every
Just throw a Molotov cocktail in here.
when I first auditioned for Last Comic Standing.
Yes, I did that. as
The
well.
first did you do it the first year?
No, I did it. I was in 2014 is the year I did it.
Okay, so I forget what the first year was.
It was the rigged nonsense year with that fan.
Wait, that year was rigged opposed to all the other years?
Oh no! Well, no, they were all rigged.
They were all
All of them?
That was splendidly rigged, though.
I signed an
break
NDA. I signed an NDA that was this thick. It was the most rigged show ever.
And that was
More
even
rigged,
more
than,
rigged.
than American Idol.
Dude, it was
Unbelievably
the
rigged.
guy who managed the comics that won. It was his show.
The guy who won my year had a development deal with
Yeah.
the
What?
producers. Yeah, it was so rigged, it was scary. But I went into the first year's audition, and they filmed the audition, but they're filming the waiting room, and they're filming. Mine was at Madison Square Garden, the audition, and they were like, I got off a plane. They're like, hey, they're waiting for you at Madison Square Garden, and I got there, and I was like, something's wrong. Something's weird. What are they doing? So I went up to them and I'm like, hey, I don't feel comfortable about this. I'm getting out of here. And they're like, get out of here. Like they yelled at me, like, get out of here. And the next year I called after.
It's self-aware. Get it out of here. No.
After all the comics made like $10 million after that, I was like, hey, I want to do Last Comic Standing.
Yeah.
And I called them and I sent them an email and they wrote back, you can stand in line with the other open micers.
Oh,
Yeah, they were so mad at me, and I had to like kiss their ass, and then they actually put me on the second year, and they screwed with me. Like when I did the audition,
I know the feeling. Go on.
they announced everybody who got it, and they like were excited about me doing it. They announced everybody, and I'm like, oh my god, they just brought me back so I could get bounced off the first episode.
Wow.
And then they go, wait, we have one more.
Dun, 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 dun.
And they're like, where did this come from? And they're like, and the last person going on to the next round is Eddie Ifft. And I was like, why did you do that to me?
Right.
And
The drama.
then the next year they called me and they're like, hey, you want to do Last Comic Standing again? I'm like, I was on last year. And they go, people won't remember
That
you.
doesn't matter.
They literally said that to me. I made it to the semifinals and they're like, people won't remember you.
Wow.
And so they put me on the next year. And they flew me to Arizona and pretended like I lived in Arizona. and had me audition.
Oh,
Reality
Tempe. I was
shows
in
are
Tempe.
so-
I was probably with you.
Are you serious?
Was Lavelle Crawford
Really?
there? That was the only
Ralphie May was like a
Ralphie-
judge or something.
Ralphie. This year was Kathleen Madigan, Alonzo Bowden, and Ant.
That were the winners.
No, they were the judges, and they go, you're gonna go out and everybody's gonna like you but Ant, and then we're gonna have Bill Bellamy talk you up, and you're gonna go back out there and do really well. And I was like, what? So that's what happened. And then like Bill Bellamy, I think it was that year because I auditioned twice, but they did the same thing where like I looked like tough competition. That's what I was brought in for. And I didn't do it for years until 2014 where I finally advanced. I just said no because I was like, every time it was like, yeah, you're going to look like tough. You know, you'll get a clip for the night round or whatever. So like Tempe, I got one. And then, yeah, it might have been that or the one with people from The Office. That was weird too. Because it was the redhead woman from The Office and the heavier guy. And they're staring at me.
They're good at judging stand up.
Yeah, because they don't do it.
Yeah.
And
Experts.
they're also side characters on a sitcom.
You haven't done anything else.
No, they literally make I think they sell hot sauce called like the Office sauce. Nothing against them; they were great on the show, but it's like, you know, when they're giving you advice, it's like, but you did like 3 Second City classes, right?
Yeah,
Like, that's what you did.
You were a character actor.
Yeah, correct. Like you look like a giant fat guy in an office. That's how you got the job,
got
correct?
cast.
Yeah. So yeah, like I think it was that year where Bill Bellamy talked me up. So now Bill Bellamy's giving me like this speech, and I had just done like a pedophile joke about like altar boys, and then I go out and I retell it, and they're like, "All right, we'll see you tonight," and I'm like, "This sucks."
What is this? Is it so? It's just like a showcase. It's a big fake showcase.
It's a big fake thing. They had, God, I have so many stories about it. We had the year that I did it, they had flown us from LA to New York, and there was some young kid from San Francisco, some comic who was really, really young. And we were all going out to dinner. We're like, come on, we're going to go to dinner. Like they put us in this hotel and we're all going to go out to dinner. So we were all leaving to go to dinner. He's like, I'm not allowed. I can't go. We're like, why not? He's like, the producers want me to stay here. And we're like, where? He's standing outside. He's like, here. We're like, wait, they want you to stand right here?
Oh, in line.
No, it was outside the hotel. And,
Okay.
and we're like, what's going, you know, you're curious. You're like, what's he getting that I'm not getting?
Yeah.
He's standing out there. I'll tell you what he's getting, mugged. they staged a mugging.
Are you serious?
They had him get mugged.
What?
Why is that necessary?
I swear to
I want to be in that room when the producers are
Don't
writing
tell
these
them.
ideas. They're like, what would be fascinating and fun? Like, you get him mugged.
Here, let's see.
It would feel natural.
Hey, but it gets even better. They had him mugged and had the guy stole his shoes. Because that's common.
So he goes out.
I've had my shoes stolen.
Shut up.
She has.
They tie those shoelaces together and throw them up over the.
Yeah, I've already told it on here, but I'll tell you about it later.
I'm intrigued.
Yeah, I can understand stealing a woman's shoes because you're a pervert.
Yeah.
and I shouldn't say I
You
understand.
want to
but-
sniff them?
You said that with complete.
but I get it.
Like, I totally understand.
Like we've all seen perverts, we get it. But I don't understand. I also do understand the Satanists that run Hollywood going, "Hey, there's a guy here with dreams. What do you think we should do? Mug him on camera and then send him home packing for being sucky at comedy?" That's basically like, what do you want to do with the girl that's here? I don't know. Show her selling herself before she goes and does an open mic.
They in my interview, they would try to like create fights. So they're like, you and Bert Kreischer started together, right? And I'm like, yeah, sort of same time. And they're like, and Bert doesn't think you're funny. And I'm like, excuse me? They're like, well, Bert was just saying in his interview that he doesn't find you funny at all. What do you think of that?
They're like cops.
And I'm like, oh, I know where you're going. I know where you're going. I'm like, I hate women. I'm like, you need it? I'll give it to you. What do you need?
That was the one too, yeah, where they would make you say who you're funnier than.
Oh, yeah.
And then, yeah, that was good. And then you would have to heckle people. Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's...
Here's the best. They do this serious background check on you. When I say serious,
They really do.
Like government jobs.
I've had crazy background checks done for a number of reasons. One of my buddies was going to work for the president, and they like background checked me because I lived with him, and all this crazy stuff. And so I get this like interview, like serious interview that's going on. The guy's asking me all these questions, and They're like, NBC has this person call you, and he goes, so have you ever been arrested? And I go, nope. And he goes, you sure? And I go, yep. And he goes, nothing about bicycle, New Jersey. And I'm like, well, you obviously have it in front of you. So,
Yeah.
And I go, that was expunged. He goes, tell me about it. And I'm like, all right, well, I was riding on the handlebars of a bicycle. My friend stole the bike. We didn't know it was stolen. We kind of found it. And he's like, what about this open container one? I'm like, I thought that was expunged too. And I'm like, when they say it's expunged and it's, how are you getting this shit? I'm like, how do you not work? Because I lied for my friend badly that worked for the president, and they didn't find that out. How have you found this out? And
Sir, we're Last Comic Stand.
but
I don't know if you know who we
so
are.
that was like a part of the process. And there were like 20 of us going on to this next round. And then there were like 13 of us. And I remember at the end of my interview, I said to the guy, I go, so I'm out, right?
Yeah.
Because of Mike.
Yeah.
And he goes, oh, dude, you've done nothing like some of these comics. And I was like, really? He's like, oh, man. And so I'd see these comics. I'm like, hey, you're going to New York with us for Last Comic Standing. He's like, yeah. And I'd be like, what? Why not? And they're like, I got to fight with a girl one time.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah.
It's like that one comic who toured college campuses.
Oh, yeah, the rapist.
Yeah, what was his name?
Eddie Ifft.
Was it him? Well, it was Will something. Oh, man.
I forget his name, but he would do it at other colleges.
Yeah, like he won Star Search, I think, and then he got all these colleges, and he would go to like the other college in the area until they realized
Is
like
it Vince Camp?
Vince Champ.
Vince Champ.
That's
There
it.
it is. Yeah.
So he would go to the college, do a show.
And then go to a different college.
Yeah, smart guy.
Yeah.
Planned it out.
Hilarious, by the way. I don't know. He's right.
If you write a how-to book,
Yeah. It's really
If I did it.
actually it's written by Cosby. He writes the intro.
The forward.
The prologue is by Vince Champ. Yeah.
I have a neighbor who had sex with Bill Cosby and
Willingly?
willingly.
Okay.
Really?
Yeah.
And is she all like he's innocent?
No. She just was into the BBC.
Oh,
And was
really?
like,
Okay.
yeah. She's like, he's a star. She's like, I was more than willing.
Yeah.
She also runs a porn company, but
That's the thing
okay.
too, is that there's always like women that are willing to sleep with you if you're a celebrity. You don't have to like
Yeah.
drug them and like
Yeah.
Yeah, especially if you're Bill Cosby.
I mean, he was a huge star.
Yeah.
Well, Keenan Ivory Wayne said that when he was on the set of Fat Albert and Bill Cosby was talking to him, he's like, you're gonna need 2 dicks for all the pussy you're gonna get. And Keenan Thompson was like, what? Like he said his whole childhood like shattered in that moment. But it's like as comics, we all heard that. Like everybody knew, but it's like, what were you gonna say? Like I never knew that a Hannibal Buress tape was just gonna leak out one day and take him down.
Did it?
I think
got taken down.
I got
I didn't
that
know he
advice. A comic gave me that advice like my first week. I was like, hey, do you have any advice? And he gave, the old story. He's like, yeah, never bang a waitress on a Wednesday. She'll cock block you the rest of the week.
Yeah, you always met those club owners who's like, don't have sex with the staff.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't want to, but I don't know why. Then he'd have like a list of comics and faces. I'm like, this is fun.
I had a guy go down. I'll say where it was. It was the Comedy Catch in Tennessee and
Chattanooga, Tennessee. Yeah.
And the guy came out to me and he's like, I got 3 rules. He's like, you get 2 drinks, your food's half off, don't stand here, don't stand there, don't stand there. And I had like 3 rules or whatever, 4 rules. And he goes, and don't mess with my waitresses. And I was like, okay. And I was kind of like taken back and I go, I'm looking up at the wall of like super famous people there from Seinfeld, Dave Attell, all the best
To
comics.
Killer Bees.
Yeah, and I Killer Bees.
Because you're in the South.
And I go, do you give all of these guys those rules? And he goes, no, but they're famous.
Different echelon.
And I was like, oh, so it's just, it's just me.
Yeah. There's a whole list. It's like the top row. He's like, the top row can do whatever they want to my women. It's Gallagher.
Seinfeld's allowed to do anal.
It's fine. Gallagher too comes in sometimes. It's whatever he likes.
You know? I got the craziest Gallagher story ever.
Oh, I want to hear it.
Yeah.
I'm at a party one night in Agora Hills in California. One of my buddies who's not a comedian. And there's a girl at the party, and I'm talking to her, and she goes, "Oh, you're a comedian?" I go, "Yeah." She goes, "My dad was a comedian." And I'm like, "Oh, really? Cool." And she's like close to my age. So I'm like, "How long?" You know, I'm like, "Oh, really?" And she goes, "Yeah, you probably wouldn't know him." And I go, "Oh, what's your dad's name?" And she goes, "Gallagher." And I'm like,
why wouldn't I know?
Why would you not know?
And I go, you're the daughter of Gallagher? Like, I feel like I'm in some like Game of Thrones thing. Like,
Yeah.
you are the daughter of Gallagher. You have the, I go,
She downplayed her dad hard. She's
I
like,
know,
You probably
and
wouldn't know.
There's no way you know the Smashing Melons guy.
Yeah.
and I go, your dad is Gallagher. And she's like, yeah. And she goes, he's actually living with me right now. And I go, wow. She goes, he just gotten a divorce. It's like his third divorce or something. She goes, he's living with me. And I go, where do you live? She goes, like 2 houses away. And I go, where's Gallagher right now? And she goes, he's at the house. I go, can you bring Gallagher over? And she's like, yeah. And she goes to the guy that owns the house. Is it okay if I bring my dad over? And I'm like, her dad's Gallagher.
You're like, you don't have to ask.
I'm like, go get him. Don't ask anybody. Go get him.
Is the Sledge-O-Matic coming in the truck?
And she goes, just don't talk about Gallagher too. Whatever you do, don't talk about Gallagher too. So I am like bubbling with excitement. I'm like, oh my God.
I love that she brings up Gallagher, but thinks you know all about Gallagher too now.
Right. Which you might not know him, but you know about.
She's like, but you know Gallagher too.
Yeah.
She's like, you might not know
each
my
other.
dad, but we've all heard of Gallagher too.
So he comes over. He's the star of the party because everybody wants to know about him.
Right.
And I'm the worst. I'm asking him questions like I'm a reporter.
Right.
And he hates me. Like quickly hates me. Like right away, he keeps stepping away from me, and I'm like, "No, I've got 6 more questions." Yeah. And
You're the guy at the end of the line.
I'm the end of the line. I am the end of the line guy, and he wants to murder me. He won't shake hands with me. And my buddy, who's not even comedy, he takes a liking to him, and I am angry. My friend's just cooking spaghetti, like making his spaghetti. And Gallagher's over trying to talk to him, and I'm like, "Fuck your meatballs." And I'm like, "Tell me about it." And he was an engineer. He was managing a country music band. And he was successful at that, and he knew how to tour from that. And then he did stand up, and then one night he smashed a watermelon, and he hated Letterman. He told me how much he hated Letterman. We called him the actor. Or no, that was Jim Carrey. We called him the actor. Hated Jim Carrey.
Okay.
Then he hated Letterman for dropping watermelons off the roof of the building.
Because it was his act?
Yeah, he felt like it was.
He cornered that market.
He's like, melons, that's my thing.
Do you understand I invented melons, boy?
And then somehow I got him into Gallagher too.
Oh, that's beautiful.
And we
You're like, has
That's
anybody
maniacal,
ever...
man.
Has anybody else ever stolen your act?
Any other examples?
I knew I wasn't supposed to, but I just couldn't help it.
Not.
I had to get there. And he went off on his brother so badly. And the story was that his brother was down on his luck and not making any money. And he said to his brother, he's like, "Hey, why don't you do my act? You know, we'll basically like franchise it. You go do it in the small markets that I don't go to, and you can make a living." And he said his agent then, his brother got an agent.
Yeah.
And his brother's agent was like, "Screw him."
His brother's agent also had Sinbad 3.
His brother's agent started sending him to the towns he was going to like 2 months before him. And,
Oh, that's so messed up.
and nobody cares. They're like, I'll see The Empire Strikes Back before I see the
It
original.
doesn't matter to me. They're melons. They're getting smashed.
Yeah.
That's all I care about.
I bought the raincoat. It came
Put it
early.
on.
It's a $15 show instead of a $30 show. It's fine. I understand it's smaller melons, less splash.
So they go to the show, or he does the tour, and then he's like, I'm not selling tickets because he goes, so I went to my parents and I was like, hey, he's stealing my thunder. Yeah.
Mom.
And Mama Watermelon says, the parents go, hey, he's your brother.
It'd be funny if they lived on a watermelon farm. He just pulls up.
What are we going to do with all these melons?
Yeah.
But
Well, we gave him half. You said we could.
end of the story, he hated me. I tried. I thought we were going to be good friends. I thought we were going to go smash. And
He's inviting you to smash.
and then
You ever been to a smashing range, Eddie?
do you have any plastic?
Yeah. You will bring a
it on.
raincoat. A lot of people do to these Hollywood parties.
So the next day, my buddy calls me, who he loved. He loved my friend making the spaghetti. And my buddy was like a softcore porn director on the side. You might know him, Brian McCarthy. He was,
I know who
From
he
your
is.
softcore porn
yeah.
days.
Yeah, yeah.
You remember when I was in them?
Yeah.
I was much fitter. Actually, I was 200 pounds heavier.
Gallagher takes a liking to Brian.
Okay.
Brian calls me the next day and he's like, hey, Brian's always looking for whatever job he can get. He goes, hey, so I'm directing Gallagher's next special. This is like 30 years after Gallagher's done a special. He goes, he's got some crazy ideas. Apparently, we're going to I'm not joking. This is what he said. Apparently, we're going to film it in a silo at a farm. And he's going to be on a bungee cord from the roof.
And he wants a porn director because it's going to be a real mess.
And I'm like, this sounds like the greatest idea ever. Now, how is Hollywood passing this up?
Yeah, I want to see this.
So do I.
Why have they not?
There's no one on earth who doesn't want to see this.
Sounds amazing.
The greatest idea I've
Just like super slamming from a bungee cord, like
like he tells his joke. And then I said,
Just an audience of confused people. Just a circus Olay.
sitting with the chickens.
drove 30 minutes
how are
out
they
to this farm.
How are they going to get the people?
How are they going to get the people there?
It's just animals.
And Brian doesn't know the
the
first
ducks.
thing about film. I'm like, have you thought about where you're putting the cameras?
It's like,
Probably
I don't
the
even,
ball
I don't even
angle.
care.
Low angle,
Behind
fisheye
the-
lens. I
behind
want to
the
get real
back.
close.
Yeah.
We have one from the top. We're going to have a GoPro on his head. One on the
I want to see
mallet.
that angle when he's coming straight down.
When I put in my porn days, there's going to be a POV camera, and then we're going to.
You know what's really sad? Somebody's going to watch this and be like, this is brilliant. Gallagher's dead, but we can get Gallagher too.
Gallagher 2's watching this. He's got headphones in, pissing on Gallagher's grave.
No, he watches.
It's like, oh, yes.
He has sent us messages.
time.
He does watch.
As you said that, you scared me. I'm like, he probably does.
Oh, my God.
Because he used to hang out, then years after that, he used to hang out in Vegas. And he was living in Vegas. And everybody told me, they're like, Gallagher's at the comedy clubs a lot, and he likes to give advice after the show to the comics.
Big time.
You heard this?
Oh, I remember seeing him one time, and I think I told the story on the show, where in Louisville, he had pissed off this host for a week. And I only came in to do this show with a guy named Henry Cho at the end of the week, but I guess Gallagher was still there. Because Gallagher came in very angry because the kid went up on stage as Gallagher 3 and started smashing little peppers and all this stuff.
That's genius.
Just to upset Gallagher, but he didn't realize he was still there. It was absolutely one of the funniest things I've ever seen. It was like little peppers and unbreakable vegetables
That's hilarious.
with a little mallet. But yeah, I guess he was just mean to everybody that week.
That's what they said. So he'll come up to you after your show.
Gallagher 2.
No, Gallagher.
The real
Gallagher.
the real
before he died.
Gallagher.
Gallagher somehow ended up back in comedy clubs. I don't know what
And they
happened.
said he will come up to you and give you advice after the show. And I was like, okay. And somebody said, Gallagher's here. I did the show. And I'm standing at the merch table afterwards, and I see him, and he looks at me, and we connect, and he's like, "Meh," and just leaves. I'm like, he doesn't like me from the party.
He just walks right up to you. He's like, "Have you tried melons?" Dude, that's
the advice every single time.
Yeah. Well, it was actually in a Detroit court. Actually, if you look it up, I think I'm accurate. Where the judge settled it.
Oh, with his brother?
With his brother, where the judge was finally like, "Look, you can't." I guess you can't go to these venues before him, but he still ended up being able, I believe, to tour with the act.
Wow.
But he couldn't do, like they agreed to the contract so Gallagher toured.
So
too,
they were separated.
Yeah, when you start in comedy, I mean, you do clubs all over the country and not the ones you want to. So everywhere I went had Gallagher 2 on the wall, and you're confused. So you ask, and they're like, "Oh, it's his brother."
So
And you're like, "What does he do?" His act.
it's the same thing.
And then you're like, "I'm going to go drink until I learn that I can't handle it."
Puppetry of the Penis, they franchised their show. They just decided that all it is
it doesn't
guys
matter.
doing, tricks with their penises on stage. That they were like, let's just do this everywhere. We'll do it in different countries and get guys that speak German to do it in Germany. And, they like to play with it.
Oh, yeah.
And France. And so I knew the 2 original guys that started it. And so they would do tryouts. And they would do tryouts at the comedy festivals. And they thought it was funny. And I remember one year they're like, "Hey, come down. Just do the tryout for fun." And I was like, "No."
Oh.
And they're like, "Come on, it'll be good. You'll get good press." And I'm like, I know. No, I don't
want
need
that
to
press.
whip it out in front of a bunch of other men. I did that in high school.
Yeah, that's really the only time it's acceptable.
Yeah.
Is really in high school, and even then you're like,
I did teach them one trick, though, that I'm pretty proud of that they have put into the show.
The helicopter?
No, it's the
That's the first trick you learn.
Yeah.
balloon. The balloon.
Oh, what's the balloon?
What is the balloon?
Is this like Say Anything show?
Yep.
Yeah, we pretty much say anything.
Okay.
I don't know if it is technically, but we haven't been told.
That's
any
weird.
of this stuff.
They haven't told us no.
You pull your scrotum out through your hand, leaving your testicles. I'm going to do it when I used to do Loveline a lot. And if you talk using medical terms, you can get away with murder.
Yeah, so this is all clean, just so
Yes.
everyone knows it.
This is clinical. So you pull the scrotum,
Yeah.
the folded, wrinkly scrotum,
Yes.
through your hand out. So it's like an empty bag.
Yeah.
And then you've got your testicles in your hand. And then you take your thumb and you act like you're blowing into a valve that sends air, and you go, and you slowly allow the testicle into the empty bag, and it inflates like a balloon. I've done it on so many podcasts.
amazing.
Like, done it. Like, hey, I don't care. You're filming me. Yeah.
Well, that'll never haunt you.
Yeah. No, not at all.
Sure. No. Well, speaking of haunting, have you heard? You were mentioning Hollywood parties, and I actually wanted to bring this up first: the Kevin Spacey deal.
Yes.
So, if you guys wanted to mention this, I did want to bring it up. The Kevin Spacey today was cleared, or yesterday was cleared on all charges in the UK, and we have a quick video of it.
Kevin Spacey was cleared of all sexual assault charges.
I'm enormously grateful to the jury for having taken the time to examine all of the evidence and all of the facts.
The actor reportedly broke down in tears after the jury in a London court found him not guilty. The 4 males who testified against Spacey during the trial accused him of grabbing their private parts and performing other unwanted activities. In 2017, when the accusations began pouring in, the actor was edited out of a Ridley Scott movie, fired from House of Cards, and forced to pay about $30 million to producers. After 6 years of being shunned by Hollywood, he may now finally be able to return to the industry.
You will not be able to.
Wait a minute. Isn't Hollywood into that? Like, isn't what he does the thing that they...
Every once in a while, they'll pick one and be like, "You're the scapegoat."
That's what bothers me. Is it's clearly I'm sure he's innocent.
Sure. Yeah.
I understand the jury was
Technically.
just Woody Allen, but if you've been to Hollywood parties, you've met wonderful people.
Sure.
In Hollywood. Yeah, isn't like with the Weinstein deal and everything that happens there, like they're just the scum of the earth. Yes.
Yeah. It's pretty much a town full of people that went there for it. The men went there for that because the women went there for love. Like they should. It's a town of broken people. I think they should take down the Hollywood sign and put up a sign that says "Daddy didn't love me."
Yes.
And it's just a town of like broken people who are like so desperate for love and attention that they feel like, oh, when I become famous, everybody will love me. So they're like seeking that out. And then you've got these predators
Yes.
who basically go, hey, there's beautiful, insecure women or beautiful, insecure little boys or men. I'm going to go take advantage of their insecurities. And so that's why I went there.
Yeah.
Both reasons. I was the insecure. I was the insecure predator.
I just didn't have the confidence to mention it.
The insecure friend.
I wasn't cunning enough. I only could take advantage of myself.
Just don't leave the house.
You're nothing. You're a loser. Now,
right.
Now masturbate me.
Yeah, you're gross. No one's ever gonna hire you.
Hey Eddie, you want this job?
You'll never succeed without me.
I've got a script for you, Eddie.
You wrote it the night before. Yeah, I moved there at 19 originally.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Man.
Broken, just broken.
Oh, yeah, big time.
Yeah.
Big time. Yeah, and into drugs and alcohol. And every party I went to was just, it was disgusting.
It seems like it's a town, like you said, full of people that want to use other people.
Yeah.
And they're totally willing to backstab their best friend if it can get them up to the next echelon, up to the next level.
Oh, it still
next
goes on.
job.
It's high school. It's high school. And
All
they
levels.
still
It's not,
do it.
it's not even just the actors and the directors. It's like all of the
And you
jobs in Hollywood.
think when they get successful it would stop, but it still goes on. I have very, very successful friends who are all about who they're with, when they're with, and I'm like, you have so much money and so much success and you're still playing this game.
Yeah.
And they're just, it's just sad, but that's their oxygen.
The lack of pulling people up and helping others once people do hit a certain level of success too is very disgusting. So,
Yeah.
like, the idea of the selfishness is unreal to me.
There's a few guys though. I mean, I'll give kudos to like people like Joe Rogan and people
100%.
like Brad Garrett. Brad Garrett.
Garrett's a good friend of mine as well.
One of the greatest people alive. There are people like that, and that's what I always try to do. I just try to model myself after them. I'm like, I want to do what he does, and my excuse is that I don't have any success, so I can't give.
Yeah. No, I'm going to have Eddie rap on this show, though, because Eddie deserves to rap on a show. Brad's nephew.
Oh, I love Eddie.
Dude, Eddie's great, dude.
He's amazing.
Yeah, yeah. Like,
And his music is amazing.
music's great, dude, and nobody gives him a break.
And he's not really doing it anymore. He's not pursuing it.
And I want him to. Like, I'm pushing him to. I think I'm going to have him, but I'm trying to make him.
He is
Are
really.
you his agent?
No, he's so talented though. I remember when he gave
Gonna
me
be.
he gave me a CD
Yeah.
of his music, and I got it, and I was like, oh, damn it, I'm gonna have to listen to this.
That's how I
Because he's
felt.
such a
Yeah,
nice
yeah.
guy, and I was like, I can't believe I'm gonna have to listen to this. And so it was like I kept putting it off, and then I was like driving home one night, like 4 hours, and I'm like, all right, time to listen. And I went, oh my God.
He's a different guy. Once he hits
my
the
God.
stage,
Oh my God.
lights up.
And I called Brad and I go, your nephew is amazing. And I'm like, this is, and I go, I'm not just kissing ass. This is like incredible. And he's like, I know. And I'm like,
You're like, help him.
Get him out there, man. Help him.
And he's tried. And
Yeah.
it's like, for whatever reason, the music industry just sucks.
it must,
another one
because
of those horrible industries.
apparently Michael Jackson's daughter is like beautiful and super talented.
Yeah.
And she's Michael Jackson's daughter. And when's the last time you heard her music?
Right. Never. I didn't know she was alive, to be honest.
Yeah.
I just picture somebody wearing that like feathery face mask. I just pictured a drawing from South
She
Park.
still has
It's his daughter with
Didn't he always make her wear a burqa?
Yeah, yeah.
Blanket.
Yeah.
with Presley.
Was that
Blanket.
blanket?
I think blanket's
Moon.
the sun.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I just assumed.
Moon.
Moon. Is it Moon?
I don't know.
Probably
It's
right.
probably
It's just a
Moon.
Hollywood.
It's probably one of the
Daughter.
marshmallows from a Lucky Charms box.
So hey, this
Parrots.
week there was a hearing about UFOs.
Oh, I've been dying to talk to you guys about that.
Yeah. So
UFO stuff.
Nancy Mace-y, is it Mace-y or is it Mace?
I think it's Mace.
Mace So she's a
The rapper.
Yeah, she's a representative.
You guys remember?
Macy Grays.
Macy Grace. She got
No, Mace.
Mace.
No, but
Do you remember
I'm saying
Mace?
the Grays.
Like when
Oh,
you're
he
trying
hung
to
out
rape
with Puff
somebody.
Daddy. He had one hit
No,
in the 90s. Wait, he's a preacher now.
really?
Yeah.
Can
Look
we
up
get him on the
Mace.
show?
Never mind.
Mace on the show.
Get
I
Mace
feel
on the
old.
show.
I hate that you guys are 30.
Mace.
So there was a hearing about UFOs. Apparently, the government has living/dead UFO bodies,
That's what we're hearing.
according to David Grush, which is a guy
Non-human
that was
biologic.
definitely not a CIA plant in
Recovered
any way.
from a crash. He said.
Who is this guy though? Why does he have evidence of this? Or
So-
He was in is it ATIP?
Yeah, so he was a former U.S. intelligence official.
Intelligence official that
Yeah.
was in one of the programs that's supposed to be monitoring this whole UFO thing. And then he was getting information from other agents, from other agencies saying, hey, we have we have ship parts. And then another one would say, hey, we actually have a body. And then he would get this information. This is all what he said.
Mm-hmm.
It's just when they ask him about it, they're like, "Do you have proof?" And he's
Right.
like, "Yeah, but I'm not going to show you here. You got to like,
private."
It's private."
Like, well, I give that all over to the investigators.
that's what I used to
Who
tell
are the
girls.
investigators?
That's what I used to tell girls at bars. It's
Yeah.
private. You got to come back to my place. I'll
Right.
show it to you.
He's like, "Look, you've come to my
Eric
house."
Gallagher back.
You want to see? You want to see the
That's his
alien?
name, that's what I call him.
Here, take my belt off. Start unzipping. You'll see the alien.
You'll figure it out.
It's all, yeah. I got it.
We have a video.
Okay, yeah, I wanted to see it. I
Just
wanted to
so
see
that-
it.
Of the alien?
know what the hearing.
Somebody got
We'll
this
have-
house?
We'll show it to you later.
Just a guy using the worst pickup line ever in front of a grand jury.
If you believe we have crashed craft, stated earlier, do we have the bodies of the pilots who piloted this craft?
As I've stated publicly already in my News Nation interview, biologics came with some of these recoveries. Yeah.
Were they, I guess, human or non-human biologics?
Non-human, and that was the assessment of people with direct knowledge on the program I talked to that are currently still on the program.
And was this documentary evidence, this video, photos, eyewitness? Like, how would that be determined?
The specific documentation I would have to talk to you in a skiff about.
Is it?
See,
Wait.
it's like ask you what can I have some information? I could talk to you offline about it. We're online right now. This is what this
Did
is.
have the hair from Alien Nation.
Yeah.
If you know.
Isn't dog crap non-human?
Yes.
Yeah, non-human
Are these
biologics.
biologics
Yeah.
non-human? Yeah,
could
yeah,
be-
it's
See what
non-human.
I'm saying?
Is it the Nickelodeon's gack that he threw in there to keep his job also not human? He's like, no, it's
It's like, well,
just a Honda smeared with whatever he found.
What I one time was in Costa Rica on a surf trip, and I came home and I had this terrible headache, and I blew my nose, and I think an alien came out of my nose.
it was non-human.
It was like a worm, and I was like,
Non-human.
"Oh my god, I have a brain-eating amoeba." I'm like, "I'm gonna die today." So I put it in a bag, and I go down to urgent care. That's where you go,
Yeah.
yeah.
and I go.
Especially in Costa
Because
Rica.
they're experts.
I go, this just came out of my nose. And I go, I'm worried it's like a parasite.
They're
And
like, drink it.
and I'm like,
ritualistic purposes.
and I'm like, can we get on this quickly? Like, figure this out?
I may be dying.
And the guy looked at me and he goes, what do you want me to do? Apparently my doctor is Norm MacDonald. And what do you want me to do? And I go, I don't know. And he's like, well, I guess I could send it to the lab and have it tested. And I'm like, yeah, that'd be good.
Yeah, it's good.
And so
Sounds better than nothing.
they sent it away and they never called me back.
No.
And so I kept calling them. And finally I get the guy on the phone, the doctor. And I'm like, hey, you know my alien sample? You know my non-biologic, non-human biologic? What was that? And he goes, we don't know. And I go,
Could be an alien.
I go, but was it he goes, it wasn't a parasite. I go, but was it it was, and he goes, it was nothing.
They
I go,
didn't
but
test it.
that's what I think. I think the guy just threw it in the trash.
Like when you go to a store and you're like, hey, do you have any other things in the back? And they go, yeah, let me go check. And they just go back there,
Yeah.
stand around, and then come back and go like, no, we didn't have it.
Yeah, I
Just,
think
taped it to a donkey, and he's like,
Send it off.
Things are gonna come back.
It'll
Right?
get back here when it gets back here.
Just didn't care.
I really think
I just don't think he cared. The second you left, he's like, he's not gonna call back. No, he's not gonna worry about that. It came out of his head. There's no need for a concern.
I mean, you're fine though. Whatever it was,
I've never had a phone job, but the whole "can you get me a manager?" I would be like, "Yeah, sure." Boop. Hey, this is the manager.
Yeah.
yeah.
I would do it every day. I would wait for a "can you get me a manager" job.
There were so many jobs I had too where I would go, I am the manager. And I wasn't.
It's me.
It's like, I'm not
What are you gonna do now?
Yeah, what are you gonna do
talk
about
to my boss and fire me? I'm not gonna get him.
I am the man. Yeah. And I want you to die. I had a manager at you know those like jump gym places,
Yeah.
the trampoline parks.
Yeah.
Some dude was he was profiling me, and I got in a fight with the kid there, and I told him he had nice hair, like we were going at it. At one
Like
point,
what, a 6-year-old?
yeah, I was trying to help my kid, and he's like, "You can't be on the trampoline. You don't have the right wristband." And I was like, "Yeah, I just don't want my son to die." And he's like, "Yeah,
Any
you
kid-
can't be near the trampoline." And I
I
go,
have a son. Any kid that talks to me like that deserves to be hit.
Yeah.
I agree.
Smack.
so I'm like, I just didn't want my son getting hurt. And he's like, "Buh, buh, 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 buh." So I go, and then, so my son's still doing it, and he's standing there, like watching me with his arms folded. I go, can you go away? And he's like, no, I'm sitting here to make sure you don't break the rules again. And I go, could you just go get a manager, please? I want to talk to a manager. He goes, why? What are you going to do? I go, I'm going to try to get you fired. And so, so the manager comes up. And he goes and gets the manager, and I start telling the manager what happened. And the manager just looks at me and goes, "You're going to have to leave." So we're like 15 minutes into our hour at the trampoline park.
Right.
And my kid's like, "Dad."
Yeah. You're like, what?
You're like, excuse me, son, I'm about to have a fight with two 16-year-olds.
So we come home. My wife's like, "Why are you home so early?" And my kid's like, "Dad got us kicked out."
Dude, I take my son there. You were totally in the right.
I agree.
Dude, that's not right. Dude, no. Like, and that's the worst. You're doing what a dad should do.
Yeah.
And then this kid who gets a little bit of authority that he should have had.
Power.
It's like, dude, first of all, kid, why are you even looking? Like, if something happens, you shouldn't even be around to help.
Yeah.
Like, you're at best negligent.
Yeah.
Like, why are you doing your job?
I think he went to like the insurance semaar the day before,
Yeah,
where
he's
the
like,
insurance.
hey,
people-
buddy.
Yeah, you can't let this happen. And this, we've
Yeah.
seen 12 broken necks and
Yeah.
when dads are getting on the trampoline and double bouncing their kid.
That's what happens. We have a lot of drunk dads in this area who keep jumping on the trampoline. They're hurting all these other kids.
You see this place? This is a no fun area.
I spotted you from a mile away. You were a double bouncer.
And listen, you're 16. What we want you to do is jump in and start talking crap to a grown man with real problems. I think this is going to end well every time
Be fine.
for you and the consumer.
So glad I didn't fight him.
No, it's very good.
That's probably good.
Well, we are out of time, unfortunately.
Oh, this was too much fun.
I know. Thank you so much for coming.
You got to come back.
Seriously,
It
we
was so
really
much fun.
appreciate it, dude.
Yeah.
Thank you so
I'm
much.
going to have you come back now.
And let's throw out a couple plugs. You can see me, Mark Ridley's Comedy Castle in Detroit, August 3rd through 5th. But Eddie, you can see him at the DC Comedy Loft on August 8th, August 9th through 13th. He'll be at Harrah's Cherokee Casino in Cherokee, North Carolina. And August 25th through 27th, he'll be at the Comedy Store in La Jolla, California. So go out to all the, September 1 through 3, he'll be at the Punchline in Atlanta. That's a great room. And you can find all of his tour dates on his website, eddieifft.com. Eddie's new special, Man-Child, is available on Amazon Prime, and his podcast is Talking Shit with Eddie Ifft.
Go check it out.
You want more?
Oh, you want me to say
More
something
dates?
at this point?
No, what else you got?
That's it.
Honestly, you can plug anything because we
Oh.
really want you to get stuff out.
It was my 10th anniversary 2 days ago.
Happy anniversary,
Hey,
dude.
congratulations, man.
I don't know if that deserves it.
You should be doing.
I mean, 10
plugging
years, that's a long
on that
time.
one.
10 years
There's
is
a
a
lake
long time.
taking a month off. That's going well for you, though.
Yeah, yeah.
Like that's a good thing where it's not a giant house on the mountains. With the bloody
We're
elevator.
actually staying at Gallagher 2's place.
It's a little smaller than Gallagher's, but it's
Yeah, it's
nothing to
basically
shake
the
a
same
stick
thing,
at.
though.
Got a great patch in the back. His are seedless.
Oh, wow.
I prefer those.
Wouldn't it be funny if his poster said that?
Seedless.
Don't need to wear protective eyewear.
Don't have to wear.
Gallagher 2 uses only organic.
Seedless.
You're going to be getting hit with some expensive
Farm-raised
melons, friends.
melons.
It's non-human biologics.
No pesticides. And Garrett, where can we see you?
Hey, I'm going to be on Friday Night Tights, as always, on Nerdrotic Channel tomorrow. So go check it out. It's going to be fun.
So check out Eddie Ifft on all his tour dates.
Wait.
Check what? Sorry.
Do it.
More?
Do it.
That's
Huh?
all. We like to end the show with an awkward moment.
Oh, let us
What
just
do you mean?
ask you one more question.